I've never made a year in review video or anything like that before, but considering that this last year has been one that I really don't want to forget, I figured that now would be a good time to start being cliche. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything when I tell you guys that this year pretty much sucked for me, so if you don't like sad things, you should probably just stop watching right now. I rang in the new year alone with my family while exchanging pictures of what we were drinking with a few of my internet friends. The reason that I was alone was because, at that point, I was physically unable to leave my house due to the pain that I was having. The pain has, for more than a year now, been a regular part of my life, and for more than a year now I've made plenty of visits to doctors trying to figure out exactly what it was. I've been put on different drugs, told different things, visited the emergency room a couple of times, and generally just been in the dark and scared about what my body was turning into. Just a few days ago, I was put on something new, and I hope to God this time around it will actually work. In February, I was diagnosed with anxiety, so in the midst of all of this confusion about my physical problems, I was strangely happy that I now at least had a label to put on what was going on inside my head. Though the anxiety has always been and will always be a problem for me, it also came in handy, as in March I played the part of Mrs. Ogre in Jack and the Beanstalk, and through the experiences that I had had with it, I honestly felt like I was able to bring out a different side of the character and evoke empathy for her that people had never really thought of before. Right after I finished up Jack and the Beanstalk, I fell into the state of just feeling completely and utterly terrible, and due to a number of reasons, including my health issues, the fact that I was completely outcast from my class, and no longer having the motivation to do well in school, I ended up leaving school in April. After that, there was a period about 2 weeks where I was just completely up in the air about where I was going with my life, but I finally sort of figured things out when I signed up for an online school called Laurel Springs. I had to start the semester over, so I ended up working through the summer and well into September, but I finally felt happy for the first time in years, and that made everything that I had put myself through in order to get myself to that point worth it. Also in April, two of my very best friends in the entire world were both in New York and met each other, and I mention this because it was at this point that I had a bit of an existential crisis spurred on by watching the video of the two of them together. It was just after I had left school, and I was slowly realizing that despite the fact that there were all of these people in real life that I considered my friends, there was not a single one of them who I actually felt like I could trust. So as I stood in my kitchen and looked on as my brother laughed along with a group of his friends who were over that day, I broke down and cried for, to the outside observer, absolutely no reason. So despite the fact that I was in a place where I thought I was finally happy, all of a sudden I wasn't again. I tried my best to keep in contact with these real-life friends, and I tried to establish these trusting relationships that I wanted so badly, but it's hard. It's hard when you have such crippling anxiety that you can't even send a text message saying hi to a person that you've known for years. It's hard when you see all of these people around you with best friends and significant others and all of these people they trust when you find it so hard to establish even one trusting relationship. It's hard when you suddenly feel like you're on the outside looking in because everyone in your friend group sees each other every day, and the majority of your time spent together is suddenly spent finding out about everything that has happened in the past month rather than actually spending time talking in depth with them. I think that's why it's so much easier for me to form these trusting relationships with people that I've met through YouTube. When you're sitting on Skype together, there's not much you can do. You have to talk to each other and you have to dig deep, and that's why the people that I consider my best friends today live anywhere from 800 to 2,000 miles away. In August, I went to VidCon, where I got to spend time with these people that I'd never met before, or I'd only met just once at the previous year's VidCon. I got to hug them and spend time with them and talk to them without lag time, and it was just a type of amazing that really can't be put into words. Also, one of my tweets got displayed on the big screen during a concert, and that was pretty awesome. Just after I got back from VidCon, our exchange student from France arrived, and over the past 5 months or so, I'd like to think that she and I have grown to be pretty good friends. The next few months were months in which I didn't publish a lot of content on YouTube, despite promising myself that I was going to, because I got caught up in this really toxic relationship. At the time, the person who I considered my best friend, the only person I knew in so-called real life that I honestly thought I could trust, became more than a friend to me. And I don't know if it was because I was so desperate to find someone that I thought I could trust, or if it was simply because at that point in time he was the only person who was really paying attention to me anymore. But even when he started displaying all of these signs and forcing me to do things that I really didn't want to do, because I was introverted and there were certain places that I simply didn't like going, I wasn't worth it. So after we broke up, I went through this phase of trying every day to make myself feel like I was worth it, and for a while it felt really good. I finally felt confident about the person that I was, and suddenly I wasn't feeling as anxious. But as time went on, I started to lose a lot of momentum, and all of a sudden I had fallen into this hole that was way deeper than any hole I had ever been in before. There was no trigger for it, nothing that had set it off or made me all of a sudden feel the way that I was feeling, but all of a sudden I did, and as the weeks dragged on, that was when I was finally diagnosed with depression. I tried to pull myself out of that hole by making more YouTube videos and by trying to reinvent myself as a YouTuber, but to be completely honest, that wasn't working for me. And more than anything, I wanted to find who I was when I first started this all, which was the last time that I really remember being truly happy. I remember being completely honest with my audience then, so that's what I'm doing now. These past few months have been a time of complete confusion for me. I feel like I've lost myself, and despite the fact that I thought I knew where I wanted to go in life, I'm at a point where I have no idea what I want to do anymore. What I want to do with my summer, or college, or whatever I'm doing when I finish high school. I want a sense of peace more than anything. So, with the New Year's quickly approaching, that's what my resolution is.